Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. So I want to share a case study. I had a client reach out to me that needed help getting their website indexed on Bing earlier in 2025. I can report now that they have over 600 plus website visits from Bing since I fixed the technical issue on their website. It's actually even more if you look at their GA4 numbers. And just put in perspective, Bing powers obviously Bing.com, but also Yahoo, AOL, DuckDuckGo, Ecosia, and also third-party sites. Bing also has a partnership too with OpenAI, so you can understand the value of getting your content indexed by Bing. It's going to be quite important, especially when you want to diversify your traffic. So I want to go over some of their numbers first, and then I'm going to go into exactly my mindset and what I did to help get them indexed. So of course, here's the dreaded Bing message. So I'm sure you guys are aware of this. If your content is not indexed on Bing, you submit it, you get this message saying that there is a discovery, but it's not crawlable, or it was crawlable, but then it was just not indexed. As long as your website is not spammy or breaches on any quality issue that Bing would have, there's a technical problem. They won't say exactly what the issue is, so I hope this video will be helpful in making you guys kind of troubleshoot this. Of course, if you need extra help, feel free to reach out. Again, so after the fixing the issue, they have 600 more clicks from Bing to their website. That's great. That's more leads for their business simply by all the work that they did. Now they're getting the traffic benefit from it. And the fix here was that they have 550 pages now indexed. I imagine that number will only keep increasing. So whenever they build more pages on their website, everything is now fixed. You can see here that Bing was trying to crawl their website back in December and January. It just kept failing and failing and failing. They were getting no traffic. They reached out to me. It took me a few hours. I figured it out. It then took Bing about a week or two or so to finally, see these changes, and then push them. And then, of course, they got indexed. And then weeks later, then their rankings actually came for these keywords. So what I did to start, everyone who reaches out to me for Bing indexing help, I request access to your Bing Webmaster Tools account. I want to look at the error messages. I also look at your Site Explorer, and I look to see if there's any like malware or anything that's causing Bing to choose not to index your content. Next, I have a third-party tool. It's called SiteBulb. I think it costs like $15 or $20 a month. You guys can get that too. You can mimic Bing's crawl. So I like to do that just to get an idea of kind of where they're getting sort of stopped within the crawl. This is a good starting point too, because you can go into the cache version of Bing and Yahoo and Google to get an idea of, are these pages indexed. Then I will compare Google Search Console against Bing. So I do this because there's actually been cases I've had a lot of people reach out to me for Bing indexing help. I've noticed that some pages are actually not indexed on Google. So some of these fixes that I make not only help you get indexed on Bing, but they also help remove some issues on Google, might even improve your rankings too, just from a technical standpoint. So it's really important to kind of compare the two reports. And finally, for them and for other clients too, I've noticed that if Bing can't read the HTML content, so like the actual verbiage on your web page, that's going to cause them not to index the content, which is going to lead to my next steps. So the fix is to get the content index. So again, I did a lot of different testing, Webmaster Tools, SiteBulb, Search Console, and then I played around with the robots.txt file. Google Search Console no longer has this. Bing does. You can actually, within Bing Webmaster Tools, change the robots.txt file to see how Bing might respond. So I actually played around with that, and I noticed that there was an opportunity here to change certain disallowed rules that I did not think were going to impact the website from an SEO perspective, that I felt like Bing was getting hung up on. I felt like Bing was not understanding these. There was a lot of there's a lot of disallowed rules that were very complex, very complicated. So I went through them and I tested them within Google and Bing, especially Bing. I said some of these are just really unnecessary. Let's just remove it, make it a clean crawl every single time. Next, I changed the frequency to 100% every day. I'm forcing Bing to, crawl this website because they have a cache version of their memory saying, we've been trying to crawl this website for months. It's just not working. Therefore, I changed that and I said, okay, crawl this now 100% because it's going to be indexed. Next, I submitted the top pages on a daily basis for Bing to crawl. And then finally, I requested a change. So after I looked at their the client's website, again, I requested a change from a technical standpoint to say push the HTML content first. I did that because, again, I thought Bing was not seeing some of the written content. They made the change. We had dynamic rendering. We pushed the HTML content. I did testing. I saw that Bing was able to see the HTML content, and I felt confident that on a 100% frequency push for crawling and then the daily submissions, we're going to get this content index. And obviously we did. So further thoughts from Bing over the years. So I'm 5 for 5 now with indexing websites on Bing, and every website's had a different issue, but they all stem around an issue where Bing, from a technical standpoint, can't quite figure out the website and they choose not to crawl it. So Bing, like Google, only high quality content. So if it's spammy or anything else like that, it's not going to get indexed. Also, if it can be seen as deceptive, it will not be indexed. So ask yourself that: is this a deceptive website, like a doorway page? If it's not, then obviously move on to the next steps. I believe Bing requires more crawling than Google. I don't care whose search bot is more sophisticated. I just believe that where Google can probably decipher JavaScript content a little bit faster, I think Bing takes more of a cautionary crawl where they'll do like a little bit of a crawl and then get some content and come back as like a cache memory. I think it's really important to prioritize the HTML content first. Next, I think from a usability standpoint, I think Bing really cares, just like Google, about the user experience. So this client had like a pop-up that was there on the first fire. I told them to remove that, make sure that every time Bing comes to your website, again, they're going to get the HTML content first. They're not going to worry about this pop-up that's going to come up to have your email address given. um, you do need to have a pop-up if there's a reason why. When you're visiting a website, like let's say like a cookie consent. But if it's simply like a big like email capture just for the sake of marketing, I recommend not having that on the first page visit. Next is obviously don't block key pages in your robots.txt file. So this particular robots.txt file had a ton of very wild card rules. Just make it simple. Make sure, because if you do too many, you're actually starting to block certain paths. So you can test that within Bing Webmaster Tools. I noticed this too for one client. This wasn't them, but someone else. Don't lock your content. So I talked to one client, I think it was in January or February this year, and you couldn't copy their content like with your mouse. And they said they did that because they didn't want competitors to copy their content. It's 2025. There's too many tools that can already bypass that. So the user crawling, copying that or not doesn't matter. Bots are trying to be able to scrape it. I believe Bing, even though they could probably bypass that, I think from a user standpoint, they did not like the fact that users could not copy the content, especially from an accessibility standpoint. That's also choosing why they did not index that website. So just remove the block. And then internal links really matter, and the basic technical SEO stuff too. So you want to have internal links pointing to your target pages, allows Bing to kind of crawl, get an idea of where they should go next. I also believe that orphaned off pages. So if you create a page and there's no way for Bing to get there, they're not going to index the content. And then also having 404 pages. So 404s are things like you create a page and then you delete it, or you make a new URL and you forget to redirect it. Too many of those pages gives a negative perception for Bing. Therefore, they're not going to crawl as often because they're coming through so many, closed doors so they can't go through, or there's just bad experiences. Again, they're going to choose not to maybe index future content. And then 500 pages are just server errors. Again, you don't want to waste Bing's crawl. This is a long time ago. It's 2025 now, but I remember back around 2015, Dwayne Forrester, if anyone remembers that name, he was the head of Bing Webmaster Tools. And I remember hearing him at a conference talk about if there was 1% or more of dirt in an XML or HTML sitemap, Bing would actually look at that as a negative signal, and they would choose to maybe prioritize less content moving forward. So dirt is, again, 404s, 302s, 500 server errors, etc., or redirect loops too is another one. Have it clean. It's really basic. I would say just go through whatever. This would also help with Google too. But really, in summary, what I like about this particular fix though is that they're getting more website clicks. This is great. They can probably not have to rely too much now on like Google Ads, for example, to get more traffic. They can kind of rely now a little bit on Bing. And there's so much more you can do with Bing rankings, but you simply have to get indexed first. So I hope this video was interesting. Maybe it kind of sparked some ideas for you guys of if you're looking for ways to get more traffic, take a look at Bing Webmaster Tools. Make sure that you don't see a message like this saying that your content's not indexed. If it's not indexed, obviously you're not going to get website traffic. And if you're struggling to get the pages indexed, feel free to reach out. As I said, I'm 5 for 5 for this. I have a pretty good understanding of what needs to be done, and most importantly, I love fixing the problem so then my clients get more traffic, and then they get more sales or more customers from that. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, have a good rest of your day.